Welcome into Northside Territory, Foul Territory Network's Cubs podcast. I'm Sahadev Sharma with my partner Patrick Mooney. We are your Cubs beat writers over at The Athletic. Patrick, it is the day after Memorial Day when we're recording this. The Cubs are 12 games over 500, which I had to triple check this. First time they've been 12 games over 500 before June since 2016. Obviously, that's a year Cubs fans love to talk about and remember fondly. The Cubs themselves obviously love that season. The World Series winning team. We don't need to start 2016 comparisons, but obviously it's a great start to the season. This team feels very real. It feels like there are things that we can look back on in these first 2 months and say, not surprised by that. I'm surprised by this, and I think it can keep up. Can they keep this up? Various things going on. I do wonder what we believe is real and not. I think is probably most important right now. And then what do they need to do? How do they keep this going? What are the moves that need to be made to make this team a legit World Series contender, which I don't think is a ridiculous thought right now, right? When you're 12 games over 500, arguably a top 5 team in baseball, definitely a top 10 team in baseball, that's what you need to be thinking about. World Series. How do they win a World Series? They have some of the ingredients that make them a team that we can talk about that with.
No doubt. You have to play the season in front of you, and you can't sit there and be like, oh, well, they haven't played good teams yet. It's like, no, they had the hardest month in baseball front loaded at the beginning of their schedule. They went toe to toe with the National League West. They've seen the Mets. They've seen the Phillies. No one can look at this easier stretch and be like, oh, well, they're only playing the Rockies. Like, this is what you have to do. This is what good teams do. You are always more optimistic about the offense, and it is coming in waves. They're winning in different ways. Different guys are getting hot for weeks at a time. We've gone almost 3 minutes without mentioning Pete Crow-Armstrong, which may be a new recent record for this show. But we wonder, are they going to have a star? And it's like they've had multiple guys performing like stars. And I think you nailed it in your story on The Athletic of like, this is a dangerous team and it's going to be a fun summer in Wrigleyville. That's kind of the bottom line right now.
Yeah, and Pete Crow-Armstrong is the most fun aspect about this team. I don't think there's any debate about that. What he did over the weekend was incredibly fun in Cincinnati. I had a baseball tournament all weekend, so I'm losing track of the days, but I believe it was Friday that he had the 2-homer game, correct?
It's the Grand Slam, right?
Yeah. And I mean, that type of stuff is, I literally, it was the first thing I told my son after the game, because these are the things that, parents tell their kids about, PCA is that type of player. Like, he's already become my son's favorite player. My assumption is that's true across, the city and maybe the country with Cubs fans. Kids have fallen in love with this guy. He's very easy to like. He is a superstar now. I think, I want to hesitate before saying things like that. I want to give it time, but I think it's happened. It's happened very quickly. We watched him just flip a switch and become this star. He has me believing, where usually I want to say, let's see a full season. I think he can compete for an MVP all season long. I'm sure he'll hit a slump. I'm sure there will be a down moment. But he's kind of shown us that, he doesn't let them get in his head. They may frustrate him in the moment. Monday he hit a ball that should have been a home run. The wind knocked it down. He was clearly frustrated, but he moves on. He's going to. I'm sure he'll have a good game soon enough, or yet again, and that's kind of what you want to see a young player do.
Yeah, and it's not like this was a guy who was sort of under-scouted or overlooked on the prospect rankings. Like, he's a first rounder, a Team USA mainstay. grew up in Southern California, that, kind of warm weather, hotbed, Harvard Westlake, which is a factory for big time future major league players. So I just didn't see the timeline happening. This is the player I thought like he could have a season like this before he reaches free agency. But being there in the middle of April at Dodger Stadium when his numbers, were offensively were kind of in the tank. We had the contract extension stuff leak out. Did not see this, like you said, a flip that was just turned on, a switch that was turned on all of a sudden, and it just totally changes the complexion of this season and what you think could be possible for this team.
Yeah, and with Pete, of course, is Kyle Tucker. I think Tucker is almost getting overlooked now after such a hot start at times. I hope not, but maybe it's just because Pete is such a gravitational force. He has earned all those headlines. But Tucker, Monday I think is a really nice example of you don't need to be slugging home runs. He hit a sac fly. He hit a single up the middle. Drove in 2 runs in a 3-1 victory where the wind's blowing in and the offense wasn't doing as much as it normally does. And that's going to happen, especially in October. If they continue to play like this and make postseason, they will be facing good pitching. It's not it was the Rockies. Any pitcher can have a good day. I think this kid is actually a legit prospect. It had a good game against the Cubs and benefited from the weather, but you need to win games like that too, and it's something that Council has hammered all season long in the spring. That's why they've been aggressive with their base running. That's why they've emphasized base running, kind of making Wrigley can't be an excuse. You got to find ways to win around Wrigley, and they haven't allowed it to get in their heads. They haven't allowed it to sink their early portion of their season. They've done a really good job of winning games in different ways. Tucker does the little things yesterday offensively. The defense is so good, and I expected it to be. But then there are aspects of it that I am even surprised by, particularly Matt Shaw coming up and doing what he's doing. You talk about a switch being flipped. That trip to Iowa seemingly did wonders for him.
Yeah, at that point, I believe Tyone still had a perfect game going, and you saw Tyone react on the mound, raise his arms like, "Oh, is that going to be the play?" Mostly just because the Rockies are so terrible. I'm sure they're going to get no hit a couple of times this year. Obviously, the perfect game no hitter went away very shortly thereafter. But if he can stabilize that position, which is one of the league wide, one of the most underperforming kind of position groups in the sport, you're not asking him to be like Brooks Robinson or Alex Bregman or Chris Bryant MVP level over there, just to be passable offensively, to make the routine plays and maybe an occasional spectacular play on defense. As your 8-9 hitter, whatever it winds up kind of being over the long course of the season, the Cubs can take that because they're getting contributions from all over. We haven't gotten into something you've written about at length, Sahadev, like Carson Kelly being like Barry Bonds. Dansby Swanson is on pace for like 30 homer, 90 RBI, 100 runs scored, 20 stolen base type season while playing Gold Glove defense at one of the most important positions on the field. And even as guys struggle, we don't really have that much to talk about in terms of their performances because the offense as a whole has functioned so well. And I think Kyle Tucker, to me, sort of turns the page on this era of Cubs baseball where it was the disappointment post 2016, our offense broke, trying to find that piece to kind of bring it all together. And then just this next phase of guys like Ian Happ, Nico Horner, Dansby Swanson, kind of needing just someone to carry the load a little bit so that their like real talents can sort of play in full. And I think Kyle Tucker, even if it's only for one season, is that sort of galvanizing force, working alongside PCA to really change the entire complexion of this year.
Real quickly, since he's come back, Matt Shaw has a 169 weighted runs created plus. He's striking out just 17.2% of the time, walking 10.3%. I mean, it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 7 games, but he hasn't had a stretch like that yet in the big leagues. And he goes down, makes some changes, has 5 doubles. I'm going to guess this. Do you think that the third baseman in between the demotion of Shaw had 5 doubles combined? I don't think so. I don't think they did during that, whatever it was, month plus that he was in the minors. So he looks like a different player. The defense, I mean, it looks exceptional. So they got to be happy about that. Let's take a quick break and talk about maybe, some of the concerns or just like issues that we see popping up and if they can rectify it internally or what.
Todd Father and I are from Jersey, so we're used to, I got a guy. But sometimes that just means when I'm looking for a car, I go to Car Gurus.
Yeah, and I think, honestly, the best part about this is communication, which we love here in Jersey where we're from. And this is a place where you can get a car. The price drops all the time, and they let you know. They let you know when your car is ready and when you can get it. The communication part is the best thing for me, Scott.
Agreed. In-depth vehicle reviews. Car Gurus will connect you with trusted dealerships when you're ready, ensuring a transparent and hassle-free buying process with over 4 million listings. They have more car listings than any other major online automotive marketplace in the U.S., so you can find the best deal. Buy or sell your next car today with Car Gurus at cargurus.com. Go to cargurus.com to make sure your big deal is the best deal. That's cargurus.com. cargurus.com.
All right, Patrick. The starting rotation has lost 3 starters if you want to count Javier Assad. I believe Assad is throwing on Wednesday, or no. He was throwing Monday when I asked Council about it, and that was the first time he is going to throw. So he's a ways away. Basically, we don't need to, include him right now until we get some, throwing off the mound updates. Shota Imanaga is throwing off a mound Wednesday. That's still weeks away. Assuming no setbacks, assuming everything goes right there. It's Justin Steele's out for the season. We know that. The starting pitching is fine. It's not terrible. It's not exceptional. Matthew Boyd has been brilliant, had a really bad first inning over the weekend, and we saw the Cubs offense bail him out. He was able to give them, 4 innings, which I thought was kind of impressive after that awful first inning he had. Colin Ray, similar, like just a bad weekend as far as starting pitching went, which means, Jameson Taillon's outing was pretty impressive, and he's had issues with the long ball, but he's kind of been the most consistent after that disastrous first start. Very stable, very consistent out there. Can eat innings. Strike thrower, doesn't walk a lot of guys. He's kind of the guy that you look to. It's like, okay, you kind of know what you're going to get as long as I think the long ball stuff can be a little weird sometimes. You'd like to hope that's a blip for him. And then Matthew Boyd, you feel good about. Ben Brown's becoming a little bit of a question mark. He's having these rough first innings sometimes. He has these bouts with walks. I think Council said it really well. I heard him, I think it was on Marquee, basically say it's like or maybe it was Monday when we were talking to him. He said, like, basically it's like a rough first inning where he's not competing with guys with walks, and then he gets to the third time through the lineup and he's not able to handle that. I think that's a kind way of saying maybe that third pitch that he doesn't have or doesn't use is starting to become an issue. That's me interpreting things of what Council is getting at, but the walks can't happen. I think that's the primary thing. That's the thing that he can definitely fix. Like, he has to fix that. He cannot walk the first 2 batters of the game, because if you're going to have third time through the order issues, you're just not going to get through it game very often. Give your team enough innings.
I mean, calling back to the 2016 reference that you made earlier, like part of it is we're not being haters when we point out some of the stuff. Like this is how the team thinks. Like when you have a team that's this good, that has like great individual performances, has what seems to be a really good, vibe in the clubhouse, like strong, consistent, upbeat energy all the time. You have to think about what's going to go wrong, and you have to have really high standards. And so as we continue to cover this, we're going to look for these spots because that's exactly what the front office does. That's exactly what the coaching staff does. You're always trying to figure things out. And, I do think Ben Brown, if the Cubs had any sort of pitching depth at the moment, probably would have been back in Iowa. Maybe it would have been a bullpen fix. Like it's just not happening consistently enough, and it's glaring because all these other things are going right. I'm with you on Tyone. You can just kind of, assuming he's healthy, pencil him in for those kind of 30 plus starts, a really nice, solid, dependable season. I've been really impressed with Matthew Boyd because I think the health is something. I know he's really confident and should be, as long as the ball's in his hands. He's going to get good results, but he just hasn't done that full season, I think, since 2019. I mean, it's a pretty big gap, and I think that's something you're going to have to kind of build into the second half of making sure that guy can be the pitcher he was for Cleveland last October. And yeah, it is amazing that, Justin Steele going down so early in the season with a real career altering type of injury, potentially, to have the Cubs rolling in first place while getting, so little from him, to have, Shota sidelined to this extent. It's kind of amazing, like how they've done it.
Yeah, I think it's important to get Shota back and see what he can, get a few starts under your belt before before July or middle of July, so you have a good feeling about what's going on there, like how aggressive, how many starting. I mean, it's hard to get starting pitchers. It really is at the deadline. I think, but the more I kind of see things, the more I watch this team, I feel like starting pitching, it vacillates. I think week to week, what do you need more? Starting pitching, bullpen. I think you have to add a starter, though. I'm not sure what's going to change over the next month and a half, 2 months that will change my opinion on that. I guess if Ben Brown just locks it down and Cade Horton looks great, that's I guess what could change. But and we should give Cade Horton credit. He's done very well for a kid coming up and making spot starts for Shota and now going down. I think the bullpen is looking a lot better. Look, there are issues with the injuries. Porter Hodge being hurt is a problem for them. They need him back. They need him at his best self to really feel good about the bullpen. I got to give Daniel Palencia a ton of credit.
Yeah.
He goes out there and blows that save in his first opportunity and then locks down the next 3 opportunities he gets. He's throwing, I think he threw on 102 miles per hour the other day. He's pumped up out there. He's embracing the moment, striking guys out, keeping them off the bases. A ton of credit to him for doing what he's doing and going out there and turning his career around, because he's brought it up again. He wasn't having fun last year. He was going out there overthinking every moment, and it hurt his ability to perform. Another guy that I appreciate when the Cubs go out and get guys, and I understand anyone can surprise, but what Drew Pomeranz is doing is just mind-boggling. It's not like there's sometimes I get it. Like I'm the one that preaches this all the time. You never know where it's coming from, but to do what he's doing and to look so good when you haven't pitched in the big leagues for so long, it's a little. It's almost like comical how well he's doing. Patrick, I'm going to let you chat about that. Let's take a quick another break real quickly, and then we'll talk more about the bullpen.
Kratz, my pup was picky, not anymore with Spot and Tango Unkibble, and It is about 40% less expensive than frozen food. So we're saving in the wallet and we're making our pups happier.
Let's go apples to apples. I'm not cheap, but I don't want to waste my money on something that's good for my dog. This is perfect.
Yeah, they are very excited. Both Bella, Kratz's pup, and Penelope, my little pup, for Spot and Tango. You can get your pup excited too, and there's no more guessing how much to feed your dog either. Spot and Tango creates a custom plan based on your dog's age, weight, breed, and activity level. It's a nice little survey. So upgrade your pet's bowl with Spot and Tango Unkibble for a limited time. Go to spotandtango.com/foul. Use code FOUL to get 50% off your first order. That's spotandtango.com/foul, code FOUL for 50% off your first order. Spotandtango.com/foul, code FOUL.
All right, Patrick, go ahead. Give your thoughts on the bullpen and then where it's kind of standing right now.
I was yesterday or Monday watching Drew Pomeranz just warm up. Like, I know hitter-ish is a word that scouts use for hitters. I don't know if pitcher-ish is a word, but just, I don't know, his size, coming from the left side, just how easy it comes out, just kind of the way he kind of just goes out there and competes. It's impressive. And when you just look at how the journey he's taken to get here, how highly regarded he was as a first round pick, as a prospect, as one of those kind of ahead of the curve, hybrid pitchers, getting the big contract as kind of a, reliever, not established closer, but could do different things. He already had the Milwaukee Council kind of magic dust, whatever they did up there. Like, I get it. I didn't see him being this dominant and this circle of trust so soon, but not really shocked. We'll see if he can stay healthy. And I do think a trade deadline will be interesting. Like, we'll see what the market will bear. Like, I don't know how many good, the White Sox don't have Garrett Crochet and Eric Fetty anymore. Not that they were going to trade with Jed anyways, but I do think this pitching infrastructure, you look at it, like, just get at least two more good arms and just figure out the rest later. Maybe there's an interesting sort of hybrid pitcher who can do a little bit of everything. Maybe it's just a lockdown leverage guy. Maybe there is, kind of a starting pitcher we're not thinking of, and maybe comes with multiple years, and that makes sense for your long-term plan as well. But yeah, I think that's where this season, if it goes off the rails, it'll be the pitching, and that's not really a groundbreaking statement. That's just usually how the game works.
Yeah, you certainly can't afford any more injuries. I think that's a big thing. Like they're at that like danger point with the starting pitching injuries, because I believe I don't know what the outcome was, but Jordan Wicks left his most recent minor league start early. You have Chris Flexen, but now is he stretched out? Kenta Maeda is not looking good in the minors right now, at least results wise. I'm not watching those outings. So, what is the depth? It's hard to say. It's just hard to say what the depth is right now. There's a reason they signed Maeda, right? They had to add that arm, just because right now they just need arms for depth. You don't like right now the injuries are not devastating enough, not long-term enough to be a major concern. They're just a sort of annoyance, whether it's Miguel Amaya, Porter Hodge, even Ian Happ, who's not looked right since coming back. I'm assuming that's more a timing than a health thing. A lot of times, it just takes a little while. Baseball's weird. Position players at bat, it's just weird like that. It just can take 10 days off, and then suddenly your timing, right when he looked like he was locking in too. It's gotta be frustrating for him. So you just hope the injuries don't pile up. We should get more info on Amaya on Tuesday. We're recording on a Tuesday. We should get more info on him. Hodge is basically in a holding pattern. Not great. That's
not a good news.
not terrible news. Not you wanted to hear. Oh, he's throwing and he's on the same plan Ian Happ is. It's harder to do that as a pitcher with these obliques. They're really obnoxious. So, I agree with you. If this thing goes off the rails, I asked Council about the offense if he believes in it, if like he's at the point now where he's not worried about it, and his answer was basically like last year, and I pointed this out to him, I think in Milwaukee, how like last year the April numbers were propped up by insanely good numbers with runners in scoring position. That's not repeatable. This feels different, and he agrees. This feels different. This is just good all around. And his point, I really like his point of like you can overcome 2-week slumps of players, like players having 2-week slumps. That's not sinking the team. Dansby Swanson was awful for a while. Ian Happ isn't playing well right now. They're winning. Kyle Tucker wasn't great for a while, and that's when Pete Crow-Armstrong became a superstar. So you can handle all these things. You don't want Miguel Amaya on the IL. That catching duo is so good, but they're overcoming it. The offense feels legit, but the pitching, it's getting to the point for me where you don't want to waste this offense. You don't want to look back on the season and say, if you go out and get pitching and you lose in the NLCS or whatever, you go and make a run. You don't want to happen to say like they weren't aggressive at the deadline. They didn't go out and it was obvious how good this offense was. It can do damage in October. Go make the moves to make things interesting.
Yeah, I mean, clearly you're in Council's head. That's what I got from from Monday's pregame session. He's like, "Oh, I think you had said it last year," and I was like, "Well, all right, you got him."
Yeah, I'll keep trying. I'll try that Inception work more often. See if it can work in our favor in any way. All right, Patrick. They took the first of 3 with the Rockies, 2 more with the Rockies. We'll be back after that series, and then the weekend home series against the Reds, I believe. The Reds are pesky. They seem to, no matter what their record is, be a thorn in the Cubs' side. So we'll see how this weekend goes, how the rest of this Rockies series goes as well. You obviously want to sweep the Rockies, but also baseball is weird, and you never know what happens, so you can't assume anything. We'll see how the pitching looks, if the offense can get going in a annoyingly windy coming in Wrigley. Windy, especially for us, that's annoying with the windows open.
It was cold yesterday.
Yeah. Bring your coats to Wrigley Field, everyone.
Yeah, plural.
Yeah.
I had
65 degrees. Don't look at the weather and assume Wrigley Field is going to be beautiful. It's windy. It's actually rainy, I think, this week too. So hopefully we get games in. I'm not going to jinx it. No rain talk. All right. Thanks for listening, everyone. This is Northside Territory. Make sure to rate, review, and subscribe. Subscribe to the YouTube channel. Subscribe to The Athletic, where Patrick and I are on top of all things Cubs. Thanks so much for listening, everyone.